Hi, welcome to another episode here on Creepy with Coffee. I'm Kim, your storyteller. Well, tonight's episode, it's a setting of a place where all of us are quite familiar with, in a school. And as Asian, we have heard tons of story coming out from school, and they not? Well, before we begin, like usual, if you have yet to subscribe because my data says so, please do subscribe. It would help the channel a lot. And if you do have time, remember to click on the like button and also comment some nice words in the comment section. But for this episode, extra things that I wanted to ask from you guys is, if you guys have any feedback about the episodes that you have watched, anything that you wanted me to improve on, anything that you wanted to see more, please do let me know in the comment section. Okay? Thank you very much. Now, let's get on to the story.
This is Creepy with Coffee.
Today's story is written by Pel Ika. It started like this. My school operated on a split schedule, morning and afternoon sessions. As a senior, I attended the morning sessions, but also worked as a library prefect. This meant I had to manage the school library during the afternoon session, usually alongside a few other prefects. It was a quiet day, like any other normal day, just past 3 p.m. And I remember the clock ticking away at exactly 3:21. Now, only Riz, my fellow prefect, and I were on duty since our classmates or our third teammate was absent. We divided our task. I took care of the bookshelves while Riz managed the study rooms and computer area. While shelving books at the far end of the library, I suddenly heard Riz call up from a distance, asking if I had used the broom earlier. I have not, so I told her so. So she grumbled something about having to find it and left the library to look for it. And there, this time, left alone, I focused on the task at hand. Moments later, I heard the library door creak open. And then close firmly. This wasn't unusual. Our library had air conditioning, and the door always made a distinct sound when open or shut. Assuming it was just a student, I paid it no mind. But then, as I moved to the last shelf in the darkest corner of the library, I heard it. A soft but persistent sound of books being pulled from a shelf and replaced one by one. The noise grew louder, moving seemed to be closer to me. My back was turned to it the entire time, and I convinced myself it was just my imagination until it stopped right behind me. I froze. The silence felt oppressive, like a heavy blanket wrapping around me. Gathering every ounce of courage, I turned around, expecting to see someone there, but there was no one. My heart pounded as I quickly walked to the front counter, hoping to see someone, anyone else. But the library was completely empty. It was just me. The air felt heavy and the chill seemed to creep in despite the air conditioning. Minutes later, thankfully, Riz returned with the broom, breaking the eerie silence. I didn't mention what had just happened, thinking maybe it was just me. Maybe I was just overreacting. We finished our task quietly and decided to sit and relax in the reading corner. Well, something that we normally do as well. Now, in that corner, there was an old telephone, meant only for emergencies. Riz, ever the jokester, started fiddling with it, pretending to make calls. I ignored her antics, flipping through a book. That's when we heard it. A faint click and hum, as if the air conditioning in the computer room had been turned on. We exchanged uneasy glances and decided to check it out. But then, when we got there, everything was off. No air conditioning was turned on. The air felt still, untouched. We returned to our seats only to hear another sound. This time, the unmistakable scrap of a rolling chair being dragged back and forth in the librarian's office. You see, there was no librarian there. And the door was locked. We both of us, Riz and I, knew this because the librarian always locked the door before leaving. No one but the teachers had access, yet there it was, clear as day, the sound of a chair moving as though someone was playing with it. Panic began to set in. By now, the library felt oppressively silent, as though the very walls were holding their breath. We didn't dare to speak, but the fear was clear on both of our faces. That is when clocks struck 5 p.m. It was now time to leave. We ensured everything was switched off, the lights, air conditioning, and even the computer systems. Also, it was our responsibility. Riz locked the library door, but just as soon as she turned the key in the padlock, a faint, sorrowful sound echoed from inside the library. It was a voice crying. We ran, our fear finally boiling over. Well, we got home safe, and there was nothing else that happened to us at home that night. The next morning, our librarian called us to her office. She asked if we had returned the library key and whether we had turned off all the switches before leaving. We confirmed we had, because we remember it. Then her face grew serious. She revealed to us that at 11 p.m, which is already almost midnight, the previous night where we heard sounds, she said she had received a call from the library's phone. The number that appeared on her screen was unmistakable. It was the emergency phone inside the library. But the library was locked and no one else had the key. To this day, I don't know who or what made the call, but one thing is certain. I'll never forget the sound of the voice crying in the darkness. Well, what do you think about today's story? I'm sure plenty of us have stories similar like this in schools. Well, you know how to reach me, and also if you don't mind, you can also pen down your stories in the comment section down below. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and if you have not yet subscribed, remember to do so. And remember, if you have any feedback, just type it down below in the comment section. Until the next time, this is Kim, Creepy with Coffee.